right now, but it's taking a few seconds probably, a few short seconds. Meanwhile, we can start by saying good evening, salam alaikum, shalom. Welcome to this public meeting of the Middle East Center together with the Democracy and Federalism Hub. We have the pleasure of hosting, first of all, two real pioneers today in the artistic and spiritual creation. First of all, Kobie Farhi, the lead vocal of the Israeli metal band Orphand Land, and now also the new author of the book that will be the temporary name, Kobie, if I'm not mistaken, Good Night, My Orphand Land, which will be published in Hebrew just in the next month after a very successful campaign, and hopefully soon in English and Arabic and many other languages. And from the Muslim side, my friend, are you with us, Salima?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay,
I'm with you.
It seemed I lost you for a second. So my friend, AKA Imaama Salima Mosliima, Salima Asakati, is a Moroccan-Dutch artist with an Islamic background who throughout her art explores the possibility of her alter ego, Salima Mosliima, an avant-garde imam whose artistic mission is the search for Allah. For the past 4 years, she has been seeking Allah in romantic love and in her creation. And co-hosting with me tonight is my partner, Dor Bender.
Hello.
Executive Director of the Democracy and Federalism Hub, a visionary leader who has inspired many to imagine new ways of building unity and understanding across the Middle East. So tonight we would like to explore the issue of building spiritual bridges through art and interfaith dialogue. We start this discussion from two different perspectives, but also a very similar perspective. One of Imaama Salima Mosliima, a practicing Muslim who is a scholar of the Sufi ways and an artist that expresses herself in original ways, and also a true peacemaker between Jews and Muslims and a bridge builder, and Kobie Farhi, who is basically the most admired Israeli singer in the Middle East, in the Arabic world, that his songs and his creation celebrates the Abrahamic identity and building bridges between the faiths from a secular point of view of the metal world. I would like us to begin, first of all, Salima, with your perspective. If you can start with 10 of up to 15 minutes, explain to us how you see the issue of achieving peace and dialogue through art with its spiritual context.
Thank you so much, Tom, for creating this event and for hosting this amazing opportunity to have a chat with the Kobie from Orphand Land. I first want to say that I'm very, very much feeling excited because I had a mystical experience and Orphand Land was a major part of it. So I just want to get that out. I dressed up in the Orphand Land Islamic way because of course I need to be in theme. So I dressed up as the Moslima who dressed up to go to the rock concert of Orphand Land from their song and Orpheus, I think it was. And I'm feeling very much exhilarated, and that's because I had this very mystical experience that I will talk about later with Orphand Land. So now that I have that out of my chest, I have a few minutes left. I think peace will come when people focus on the positive and not on the negative. And this will be very hard, I think, because especially in the Middle East, Palestine, Israel, the negative and the complaining and the criticism has become a modus operandi. Everybody is stuck in that loop. And I feel that we need a vision, we need a dream, and Orphand Land has always been of the vision, of the dream. You know, their songs are always about the vision and the dream. And that's when the artists come in. You know, Israel started out as a vision. You know, one artist, Theodor Herzl, had a vision to protect the Jews in Europe that were being, killed everywhere. So because of that vision, he created a country like no other. And I feel that artists are the leaders when it's about creating that vision. When everybody's lost, it's usually the artist. In the past, it was the prophets. Nowadays, it's the artists that have taken over. And yeah, that's why I just want to say that I'm very honored to be here with Orphand Land and Dora Bender and you guys. I'm very much happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Seliма. And may we hear a bit more about your way as an artist that explores Islam and faith as a bridge to create peace and understanding between humans? How do you see art and Islam mixed together with peace?
Well, to start off, I have a background in law. I studied law. Before I became an artist, I was a law student. And then I became ill. And after long illness, I changed. I had a mystical experience and I changed and I decided to go the art way. And when I went the art way, I saw that going the art way is a totally different way of engaging than doing law. Law is very linear. You think, okay, these are the laws and you have to apply them. And a lot of idealists think that law will solve all the problems. But I feel that law, because of its constraint, it's human-made, it's not free, it's temporarily usually. Your laws change over time. I feel that art is superior to law. What was your question? Can you remind?
Yes, how do you see your art and your exploration of Islam as a bridge between Jews and Muslims to create better future and understanding?
Okay. I will give a short explanation why I became the way I become, because in the beginning I wanted to become an artist, and then I wanted to become a female imam after I saw all the issues with Islam and patriarchy and a lot of radicalism and things like that. And I wanted to do the enlightenment of Islam. I wanted to do this very big. I wanted to change the Islam in the Netherlands, make it a European Islam. I had all kinds of plans. But then I started to make those plans a reality and engage with the Dutch government. And I got frustrated. The Dutch government preferred the radicals. They didn't want to talk with a female imam. They wanted to talk to the radicals. You know, Muslim Brotherhood is very strong in the Netherlands. They have a strong network. They are financed. I at a certain moment I was just frustrated. I was just frustrated. They didn't want to talk to me. They preferred the Muslim Brotherhood because they said, well, they have more people, you know, who is behind you? Yeah, of course they have more people. They have more funding. You know, they have Islamic Relief that is sending them billions of dollars. I don't have that money. They're not giving me any money. So I was so frustrated. And then I thought, why am I frustrated? I'm an artist. I'm not a politician. I'm not an activist. I'm an artist. And I discovered that enlightenment, even in Europe, people in Europe were not enlightened in my views. You know, they had also backwards ideas, and then I thought, who is the enlightenment in the Islam? It's Allah. We have a verse in the Surah which says, Allahu nuru al samawati wal ardi. God is the light of the heaven and the earth. So I don't need to change people. I just need to look for God. And then I changed my whole approach, and I became a real Islamic artist from that moment on, and not an activist. And I started looking for Allah as an artistic experiment, because everybody was talking about God, but nobody was looking for God. has all kinds of mission. They say, well, God says this, God says that, but how do you know? It's written in the books. Yeah. Letters. Have you experienced God? Most have not. So then I thought, okay, as an artist, I'm going to take it upon me to look for God. And that started my journey like 10 years ago, and I never looked back. And I looked to Allah all kinds of ways. And currently I'm looking for Allah in romantic love. So,
Wow.
so that's what I'm doing now. And the reason I want to say that I think that it's peaceful to be an artist and not an activist, because I had no idea what I was looking for. And I was looking for Allah in romantic love, and I experienced all kinds of things. In the beginning, I fell in love with Theo van Gogh. That's a Dutch activist that got murdered by a radical. And I started having these feelings for him. I didn't know what. I'm falling in love with someone who is already dead. And it happened. I felt it. There is in the Quran, there is a verse that it's possible to have experience of the divine through a veil or through inspiration. An artist is very often through inspiration. That's what I got. I got inspired to start writing stories where I and Theo van Gogh started talking to each other about radical Islam, about freedom of speech, about all kinds of topics. And then I started thinking about getting married to him. I thought this love is so deep. I'm going to get married to Theo van Gogh, and I started looking for online priests that did marriages between the dead and the living. This was when I started doing that, I thought I'm becoming crazy now, because this is my personal limit to looking for God. I'm not going to do this. So that was my wake-up call, and I prayed to Allah, like, I'm looking for you in romantic love, but I'm looking for a person that's still alive. And I started going online dating. I got frustrated. Most men just wanted sex, or they wanted something else, not God. They were not looking for God in romantic love. So then I started praying in the middle of the night on a holy Islamic night, the Laylat al-Mi'raj. That's the night that the Prophet went to the Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem. That's the night I started praying to God. And the next day, I posted as a joke a picture of myself as a man. You can do that on FaceApp. You can change yourself in a man. I did that. And within hours, I started feeling his energy. I felt like a man. And I recorded it. I thought, okay, this must be part of the Islamic journey that I'm having. I didn't understand it, but I just started recording myself, explaining what I was feeling. I was really feeling like a man. I loved metal music. Suddenly I wanted to listen to metal. I never had a specific interest in metal music, but suddenly I wanted metal, and I wanted very hard rap music. I wanted, like, I became I morphed in this individual that I described on my socials. He was very masculine. I call him Salim. And he made me realize how the difference between men and women. And I discovered that men are very different than women. We will never understand each other. Salim was an alpha man. He loved cars. He wanted to go to car races. He wanted to watch soccer games. He wanted to go to the cafe. He wanted to go with his friends. All kinds of things that were different from my life. And he wanted to go to the gym because I felt a lot of aggression at the moment. A lot of aggressive energy that needed to go out. And I needed to listen to metal music. I needed to go, fitness music, all kinds of things. I loved that energy because it was very positive and strong. It lasted 2 weeks or something, and then it disappeared. And then I started having inspiration to write stories with him where I talked to him about men and women issues, etc. But then the war in Gaza started. It started with the horrific event of 7th of October. It was, for me living in Europe, getting all these images, it was horrific. It was for the first time you see people living in their houses, and suddenly they are not safe anymore. Suddenly someone else can just go in your house and kill you and just disappear. It was not normal warfare. It was just a nightmare. And I started waving the Israeli flag, showing my solidarity, doing everything I can to support the community. And my Jewish friends living in the Netherlands, they were starting to feel afraid because suddenly Jews were not safe in the world anymore. That was the feeling I had. And a month later, I saw that Gaza was changing. I saw images of children ripped apart. I saw horrific images coming from Gaza. And my Jewish friends that I knew, they were still in the trauma of the 7th of October. And they were still talking about the 7th of October. And nobody seemed to talk about what was happening in Gaza. My Arabic friends all were like in the trauma. They were sharing on Instagram, sharing the images of the horrific events. None of them was saying like how horrible it was in 7th of October. Then they said this was, because of the occupation. But now this was very horrible, and they were like very sad, etc. And for me, having that moment where I couldn't argue with my Jewish friends because I felt like I can't talk with them. And what I could do at that moment is pray to God. Like, what should I do? Should I join the demonstrations in Holland? Should I write angry letters to the embassies? What should I do? I didn't know what to do because my journey is looking for Allah. So Allah needs to answer me. And what I did was I asked Allah to give me guidance. And a few days later, I started feeling settler Shlomo. I started feeling settler Shlomo. Salim changed into settler Shlomo, my inner Jewish radical, Jewish Zionist, the most extreme Zionist possible, living in West Bank. He was a part of the IDF, a Moroccan, Israeli, Jewish Zionist. And all my aggression I put on him. I said, why are you doing this? Why are you killing all these children? I loved him. He was my soulmate. He was my inner man, inner radical Zionist. But at the same time, I was angry, like, why are you doing this? And every time he had this very calm, very kind, warm, but at the same time, very strong energy about him. And he did Krav Maga. He was a fan of Orphand Land. He was a metal man. He loved his shakshuka in the morning. And I started writing stories with me and him talking about what was going on. And every time he beat me, every time he tells me, I'm protecting Muslims and Jews and Christians in the Holy Land. If I'm not here, the terrorists will kill everybody. So I need to protect Muslims as well, not just Jewish people, but we need to. There are so many tribes living in Israel, and I'm giving my life to protect them. And every time I started to become angry, he had better arguments for me. So in the end, I said, okay, Hamas is the problem. Hamas is the problem. I need to address Hamas. But then the next day, I met my inner Hamas fighter, Hamas Salim. And he was also kind, strong man. And he said, this is my job. If I don't do this, who is going to feed my family? I have a house to pay. I have food to do. This is the only way for me to have a job. And he said, international law gives me the right to resist, gives me the right to fight back. I'm not a terrorist. You're delegitimizing my fight by calling me a terrorist. And when I talked to both of them, both Hamas Salim and Settler Shlomo, and saw that they were great guys, I thought I entered a depression. I became depressed and hated myself because I realized that I was the problem, that my soul was the problem, that the problem was not the individual sides, but that I was the structure of my soul was the problem. And I didn't know what to do. I gave up. I didn't want to, life for me had no mission anymore. Until I asked God, like, what can I do? I'm not perfect. And my soul is not perfect. Hamas Salim is not perfect. Setter Shlomo is not perfect. They're killing each other. What should I do? What should I do? And I experienced God's grace, and I felt like, because the problem is me, the solution is also me. And then I started to do jihad, which we call in Islam the great jihad. Sorry, the small jihad, The great jihad was
Yeah.
this, yeah, the struggle with my soul, finding out at the time the problem. That was very hard for me to do. Very, very hard. I met students, activists, pro-Palestine activists that said, oh, you're doing stupid things. This is, pro-Palestine, pro-Palestine. They had no idea the fight I was waging. They think they have the answer, but they're just children. They don't know what they're saying. I had that jihad and I felt like a fighter that came back from the hardest battle I could ever do. And my solution was love. Like Orphand Land is saying, love is the solution. My solution is I'm broken. The only way is to start with love, start with being soft to people, being kind, don't judge them, don't say this or that. Try to understand, try to be soft, to use loving language, because most people are broken. Most people are broken, and the anger and frustration comes from that brokenness, and we need to be kind to each other and loving to each other. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm so I'm not I don't know if people are seeing it, but for me, being with someone of Orphand Land is a miracle. I would never expect this. I never ever expected I would meet the head leader of Orphand Land, because Orphand Land was settler Shlomo. That was the music I was sharing. That was the energy, the experience. That's how I got into his mind. The music was "We Are One." There was one song that was about "We Are One." I played that music like every single moment when I was experiencing settler Shlomo. So for me to be here, for me, it's almost like a mystical experience. And I just want to say so much thank you for everybody that's here. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I have to ask, like I'm fascinated from the story is just unbelievable. But I'm really fascinated because you started as a lawyer, probably have your upbringing. So how the transition from actually being a lawyer and transition after your illness, you have like a transition phase, but you also have your family, your friends, your community transition. How was that transition? How did they reacted? And also today, when you have the power to influence others, can you give a guidance to other because you are in that transformation?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I grew up as daughter of immigrants. I wanted to do better than my parents. Uh, and I thought I'm going to study. I'm going to develop myself intellectually. And law was for me, the way to do it, to study history, to study the history of law. Law, it was for me everything. And so I was very academically focused, but I became ill, and I think that illness was a spiritual illness. It was a way for me to go away from thinking that I need to fix things with my brain and start working with my heart. I had this mystical experience where I experienced Allah through love. And I think there was one moment that I just let go, and it broken open my heart, and I started seeing love everywhere. And that's when I also had like mystical experiences for the first time. And thankfully, my mother understood. In Islamic Moroccan culture specifically, mystical experiences are very normal. Especially in my family, my great grandmother was a medium and had also this kind of experience. So my mother understood it, and she didn't think I had a psychosis of something crazy. So because of the spiritual experience, I learned that it's not just about the brains and about the academics, but it's about the heart. And when you connect with your heart, you connect with everyone. It's much deeper knowledge than just knowledge from the books.
Thank you. So, Kobi, let's hear your side about bridge building from the other side, from the singer who was the inspiration from Salima's journey, or part of the inspiration with Orphand Land, and also a person whose art is now being transferred to a new dimension from music to book. all over the Abrahamic sphere.
Sure.
How do you see the bridge, the Abrahamic bridge for peace?
Well, first of all, I was very much surprised to hear that Saliма even knew about Orphand Land. This is a huge surprise. I wouldn't imagine that, and I'm very much inspired and humbly, thankfully, I'm feeling gifted from all the words and compliments that you said, and from being a part of your spiritual journey. This is the great compliment that an artist can get, which means that I had been with you without even meeting you in person. I had been with you on moments and on parts of your journey, and that's the magic in art, that you can be on a very intimate, deep, spiritual moments of a journey with the people that hear your music or read your lyrics. So thank you so much. You even quoted a phrase from the Quran, which I literally sang in one of our songs in Arabic from Surah Al-Nur. And wow. So Salima, thank you again so much. And I'm feeling inspired to be here with you as well tonight. Back to your question, Tom. Everything started when I was a teenager and I was an extremist, because when I was a teenager, I started to have a body of a man, but my brain was still a brain of a child. I was brainwashed from everything I saw on the news, everything I saw on the newspapers. All the Muslims wants to kill us. All the Arab leaders used to say it. Gamal Abdel Nasser or Gaddafi or Arafat or Saddam Hussein or King Hussein or Hafiz al-Assad, they all said that they will throw us to the sea. And they all gave the immediate reasons to become an extremist. When you count the dead, when you see what they are doing, when you read the newspaper, they hide from you the fact that there are people who walk on a different path, people who believe in different things, people who do not follow that narratives, and they tell you what is to be called as half of the truth. Half of the truth is what is being told by the media to the people. It's always half. And there is a saying that half of the truth is worse than a lie, because it contains some of the truth in it. So it's a very good trick to show you, hey, this is the truth, which is only half, and it's worse than a lie. When I started the band, and even before, I started to ask myself questions about my beliefs, about myself being an extremist. And those questions led me to an amazing answers that followed. I started to write lyrics, and I started to ask questions, and I started to read. And I started to do some, let's say, revolutionary acts with my band. I was wrapping a Palestinian kafia on my neck on 1994, before it became a trend of the, let's say, the current left society everywhere. I did it in 1994 as a soldier on the band photos of the album Sahara. On that same album, instead of putting skulls and metal and black and all these kind of elements, me and Uri, our bassist, we went to a bookshop and we bought a book, a complete book called Art of Islam. And we started to cut photos from that book with scissors, and we sent it to the record company. So the first album of Orphand Land, I was putting a mosque on the front cover of the album. I'm an Israeli artist with a Jewish band. I'm completely Jewish, completely Israeli, putting a mosque on the front cover, wrapping a Palestinian kafia on my neck. I did it because I wanted to show the others, which I cannot reach them on TV, on the news, or anywhere. I wanted to show them, hey, I want to connect with you. I respect you. Look, here's a mosque on my album. Here's a kafia on my neck. I respect you. I'm looking for you. That was like my metaphysic message that I was spreading all over. Of course, it came to the lyrics. It continue, and up to the point that, as you know, the band stopped activity, and then we got back from a Jordanian fan sending us a tattoo on his body of Orphand Land's logo.
Mashallah.
It came to a situation that today you can find Palestinians with lyrics of our songs tattooed on their body. Now, if you can imagine, a tattoo is a serious thing. I mean, you go to a tattoo artist, you pay money, and you put those lyrics on your skin, which means it's very meaningful. So we, the Israeli band, wrote lyrics that Palestinians had tattooed on their body. That alone, as a single picture, shows the effect that culture and art can create in the Middle East. Because you cannot find a similar result through sports or through science or through, I don't know, maybe anything else. Definitely not in politics, but a Palestinian would make a tattoo of an Israeli band's lyrics on his arm, while on the other hand, he have a tattoo of Mahmoud Darwish lyrics, and on the other hand, Orphand Land's lyrics. It's mind-blowing because it's a result that almost no one throughout the conflict, everyone that is involved, no one got a result like that. And we have quite a few people who already did it. It's so much more revolutionary than me wearing the kafia or putting a mosque. So when I did it, I found people who are much more brave than I am. A Lebanese dancer who is contacting me and saying to me she wants to wave the flag of Lebanon and Israel over a stage in a festival in France. And I told her, listen, her name is Joanna Fahri. I told her, for us, it will be great. You will be a star in Israel, but you will have problems. She knew that she would have problems, and she still wanted to do it because she said, if one will do it, others will follow. It will be a model for the future. It's like Rosa Parks changed her seat on the bus back in the days. And she was a revolutionary that everyone remembered because she didn't and refused to sit in the back with the other women. She wanted to sit anywhere she wanted. And Joanna wanted to wave the flag. And those stories are today combined and compiled all to my book because I thought it's time to put them together. And in these darkened times, it's the best time to let the world hear about it. And I think that culture is a very, very strong event. In fact, you compared artists to prophets, Saliма. I still think that there are prophets as we speak, because I don't think that I think that prophets had the abilities to oversee and to look deeply into things, and that thing happened for artists. They look deep, they ask questions, they think all the time, they search all the time, and something had to happen. So many artists for me are considered as prophets even to these days. Culture is definitely one of the keys to bring people together. It enters your heart before you think. If the Arabs that follow Orphand Land, if I would approach their head before their heart, they would block it. Because the head says, no, 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 no. All the narratives are in the head. All the feelings are in the heart. When you go straight to the heart, they found you in their hearts. In this Surat Al-Nur that you describe, it also says that Allah guides to his light the one that finds him in his heart. It's the phrase that you started. This is the words that come after it. So the key is to see each other on our hearts. It's love, as you said. And that love put you together on a scale that you can talk, that you can feel, that there are human beings in front of you. I found those people, those Muslims, whether if it's Palestinians, Jordanians, Syrians, anywhere. They are over there all the time. And I found them with the help of the music, and I'm privileged and happy to be a part of it. So culture and art is definitely holiness to me.
Yeah, this is amazing journey as well. And I want to ask you, now you have a new journey. You actually writing a book and you actually wrote it. So how does the transition become like you're a singer and suddenly you, instead of using your voice, you're using your hand to write? And what is the purpose? Like what do you want to achieve with writing this book?
Thank you, Dora. So first, I think that the pen was always some kind of a weapon to me, because I was writing lyrics. Of course, it's not literature, but I always thought that I should write those stories, because I always thought that metal music is not for everyone. I thought that it's not for, I don't know, for most people actually. And I think that the story of Orphand Land is much bigger than the music. The music is amazing. The production is amazing. The guitar work is amazing. I am surrounded with amazing musicians. But if I want to bring it to every living room that I know in the Arab world or in Israel or anywhere, I think that metal music stops at some point, while the story is a story that everyone should hear. Because you hear stories about coexistence, you hear stories about friendship, and they are everywhere. Tom is bringing us that stories on a daily basis. He is meeting people, interviewing them, bringing them to Muslim imams to the Western Wall, or to, I mean, it happens all the time. And I think that what we did with metal music, the fact that people tattooed our lyrics or logo, it shows the level of devotion, the level of courage. Can you imagine some of our fans thrown to jail in Egypt because they were listening to our music? The crime was blasphemy, listening to a music. I thought that on a world that repetitively says those stories about war and death and hate and revenge and hunger, that stories never get the attention, because love does not sell like death. Hope does not sell like desperation. And these are the things that we fight with. And that's why I thought that I should take all those stories and put them together. The decision, the right moment that I got the decision was actually last year when we were on the roads before a show we had in Barcelona. The tour manager is waking me up in the morning and telling me there's not going to be a show in Barcelona. And I'm telling him, what do you mean? So he's telling me the boycott movement is blocking your show in Barcelona. You are Israelis, and if you do not follow their requests, 1, 2, 3, they dictate you what to declare, and then they will drop. But if you do not do it, they will do everything to stop your show. And I thought to myself, what do you mean? I'm with Orphand Land for 35 years now, and the BDS movement exists for 19 years. My achievements and Orphand Land's achievements are much bigger than the BDS, because they go on a way of shutting mouths, of boycotting people, and we are going to dialogue, to mutual understanding and love. Why should I follow their narrative? I mean, I have my own, which proven itself on a miraculous way.
Sure.
And I had to write to that club owner day after day for almost a week, up to 10 days. I wrote him emails after emails after emails, telling him those stories that appear on my book. Every time it was, you have to listen to that story and check that picture as well. You have to see that story and that one as well. And please read also this one. And at the end, I asked him, look, honestly, if you will find another band with the same stories, with 10% of the stories that I just told you, I will not hold your guts for canceling the show, because you cannot find a band that toured 2 times with Palestinians, lived with them on a tour bus. You will not find, not in the metal industry at least. And I don't know anything about it on, I don't know, the pop or rock or hip hop. Maybe it happened, but not in a scale like I did. I collaborated 10 times with Palestinian artists. I shared an award with a Palestinian band. You know about the kafia, I told you about it. You know about the mosque on the front cover of the album. All those stories. And then when he heard all those stories, at some point he wrote me and he said, you know what? It's not fair that I will surrender to these threats. It's very easy to surrender, but it's not fair to do it. You do not deserve it, and the concert will take place. And that was one of the only cases during the last decade, let's say, that the BDS lost to an Israeli band. Because in most cases, the club owners and the film festivals, they just prefer to, who wants to touch it? Come next year, come on 2027, let's leave it aside. No one wants to deal with it. But that was one of the only times that they actually lost. And that was the point that I realized, damn it, I have to put it on a book. I mean, instead of writing all those emails, and I spent so much time writing it, I could just send him the book from Amazon or send him the audiobook and direct him to a time code or to a page. Go to page 30, go to page 45. And that's when I realized that not only that I need to have it on a book to send it to him, I need people to know the story. I mean, if he would know the story from the beginning, I wouldn't have to tell it. Mm-hmm. He would know, what the hell are you talking about? Orphand Land? Let me tell you about Orphand Land. And that's when I realized I have to release this book in Hebrew, in Dutch, in Arabic, in Greek. I don't care. In any language on the planet, I want to do it. And so that was the moment that I realized that books are important. And this story is a very important story. It has to be told because it's a story that has the depths. It's from the deep inner circle of the conflict. I am not someone going to a protest in London. I am not someone going to a protest in Brussels. I am not Greta from Sweden. I am Kobie from Israel, from Jaffa, living with Arabs all my life, writing about it, singing about it, living all the wars. My fathers fought the wars. My grandfathers fought the wars. I have friends that were injured in suicide bombings attacks, in terrorism. I know people that died. I have fans of the band that died in October 7. I am my emotional connection to the conflict is much stronger and deeper than anyone on the streets in Europe. And that story has to be written and has to be told. And that's the reason.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Imaama, I would like to ask you a question, follow back on your what you previously said regarding how the change in the perception was between October 7th after the change in Gaza began, as you described it. But we also now have another change today because the ceasefire has begun. Okay, things are far from perfect, and there's still many issues to resolve, and it's only a ceasefire, and even that is not always upheld. And basically, we can go back to fighting the day after tomorrow or tomorrow, but still, there's a change in the music, there's a change in the atmosphere, in Israel, in the Muslim world, in Europe. The demonstrations still continue. There is some tension in the air. Obviously, we're not back to how we were before October 7th, obviously. But from this change in the atmosphere, from this, I would say, defreezing maybe of the atmosphere, do you feel, from your unique perspective as an artist, but also a leader who truly practices Islam and is truly trying to create a bridge between the communities, do you think that this ceasefire can turn into an opportunity to touch the hearts of the people, and how should we do it, to your eyes?
To begin with, I want to respond on what Kobe said
Sure.
about the belly dancer that had an Israeli flag and a Palestinian flag, and that would be dangerous. She had a
Lebanese flag.
And the Israeli flag, and that would be dangerous. Was she in Lebanon? Was it in Lebanon?
No, I think she was in Europe, right?
She is a Lebanese, and she waved the flag on a festival in France.
Okay.
In the audience, there were also Lebanese. There were two flags of Lebanon in the crowd, and the flag of Israel in the crowd, and there was also the flags that we waved on stage. She couldn't go back to Lebanon for a few years, I think. After that incident, she moved to Ivory Coast for a while. She knew what she was doing. She was willing to take the risk and the outcomes out of it, and that's why I compared her to women like, Rosa Parks. But it was in France. It was on a big festival called Hellfest.
Okay. I will respond on that because I gave a sermon. I was invited to a piecemeal festival recently in Amsterdam, and I had two flags with me. I have them here, I think. Israeli flag and the Palestinian flag. I can put them on. I received these two flags by a Dutch Christian colleagues, and she gave them. It was during an event, and she told me, I told her about Shlomo and Hamas Salim, and she said she gave me a big hug, and then she gave me this flag, Israeli flag, and the Palestinian flag. And I gave a piecemeal festival in Amsterdam. I was invited to give a sermon, and my sermon was before the meal, and I put on my two flags, and I said, "These are my wings." My name is Saliма. It means peace in Arabic. You have a similar word in Hebrew. And I said, these are my wings, and if we want peace, we need both wings. This is the peace. Everybody's talking about how to do peace. You need Israel and you need Palestine to achieve peace. So I said, these are my wings. I cannot fly. A peace dove cannot fly with one wing. You need the two. And I said, my story about how Allah actually, this was not activism. If I was an activist, if I followed enlightenment, I would have joined the pro-Palestinian demonstrations. I will be assured of that. I would have been seen all the horrific events, and I would think international law says this, and I need to do something, so I'm going to demonstrate. That would be my left brain. My left brain reaction. But looking for Allah is organic. It's a heart. It's not just the left brain and thinking and the mind. Go to the BDS and boycott everything. It's the heart. And when I realized that I am Settler Shlomo and I'm also Hamas Salim, I realized I cannot choose sides. I have to choose both. I have to support peace. It's the only way. That's the only way of God. This is why I think I'm a superior imam to most imams, because most imams are not looking for God. If one imam would start to humble himself and look for God and open his heart, I think it 100% God will guide him to a path like this. Because God gives answers to whomever, calls out upon God. I put all my faith in God. And this was my answer. It was, you need to wage peace in the most holistic way. You need to join people together, not judge, be kind. Sometimes it's difficult for me. Sometimes I said genocide in a group of Israelis. I said genocide during the remembrance of 7th of October, I was talking about genocide because in the group there were very strictly, right-wing Israelis. So I started fighting with them during 7th of October. And I said, genocide happens according to all the genocide experts and according to United Nations Court. So the left brain said this, but I forgot that there were people that had families that died during 7th of October. And I was talking about genocide. I was not listening to my heart. I was in my brain. And I said, sorry, I made a mistake, because now I should not talk like this to you. I should be empathic to you. So even, I'm still on a journey. I'm not perfect. And I'm learning that we should not use words that are problematic, like genocide or Muslim radical or Zionist or anti-Zionist. These words are not connecting to the heart. These words are disconnecting to the heart. We need to say, here's how I feel. This is what I feel. We can talk to each other. I have a best friend who lives in the West Bank. And we started our friendship before 7th of October. And we talked to each other. And she's a Sufi. She's Israeli, but she's also a Sufi. And she lives in the West Bank. She was also, in the beginning, a Kahanist, a radical Kahanist. She saw Muslims that were radical, and they radicalized her. She thought, all the Muslims think bad. So she started to think, okay, we need to follow Kahane because all the Muslims are trying to kill us. But then she saw also good Muslims. She saw Muslims that were kind. And eventually she went on the Sufi path. And then she met me. We met each other. And for me, it was a blessing to meet her, because she communicated with me through her heart, not just her mind, and through her heart. And she allowed me to get an understanding of the Israeli experience. Besides Settler Shlomo, I had her. Settler Shlomo, I could get angry with him and fight with him and all of that, but I needed to be kind with her. I needed to be loving with her and have patience. And she had patience with me. I didn't know I hurted her with some words that I said. But then she said, you hurted me a few days. I needed to think about it and make it in my way. So we learned how to talk to each other with love. And she helped me to have this vision of peace through positivity and not through criticism. That's why I now think we need to be humble and not think that we have all the answers. We need to be humble and ask God for guidance. I'm not saying that everybody needs to believe in God, but maybe ask the universe, maybe ask something else than your ego or something else than, By the way, I wrote a letter to the BDSM movement because in the beginning, I didn't buy the Israeli dates. I thought, I want to do something against the war, so I'm not going to buy the Israeli dates. But then I found out that the Palestinians, that Mahmoud Abbas, PLO, is rewarding terrorism, pay by slay. And I thought, if I buy the Palestinian dates, I'm also supporting the pay by slay. Indirectly, I'm supporting the pay by slay. And I thought, I cannot do that. So I wrote a letter to the BDSM movement, like, should I also boycott Palestinian dates? I wrote it in the letter. Should I boycott Palestinian dates? If we really want to be just, we should boycott the Israelis and also the Palestinians, because both are not supporting, human things. They never, up until now, they have not responded on my letter. So I decided to buy the dates and not have any BDSM. Otherwise, I'm lying to myself. I'm trying to do other. Should I boycott the dates from Iran? Iran is doing things in the Middle East. And they are selling dates. Nobody's boycotting them. They are creating problems in Yemen. There is a starvation in Yemen. I have a friend in Yemen who is a diplomat, and he's telling me that Iran is destroying the country. They are funding rebels just like they are funding rebels in Palestine. They're funding Hamas. They're funding the Houthis. They're funding terrorism to destroy the countries, to fight Israel, and not directly fight Israel, but fight Israel through Yemen, destroying a very poor country. Should we boycott the dates of Iran? So BDSM is not a just movement. It gives to people that are, that looking for solutions to do something, because wars are horrible. They think that, okay, we should do this, but it's not. It's not just. It's not helping the people in Sudan. United Arab Emirates and Iran and Russia are doing things in Sudan. Should we also boycott their dates? I think that we should not boycott. We should open our hearts. And it's terrible that your band, Orphand Land, was boycotted with such a beautiful peace message, that they're boycotting that in Spain. They are boycotting the peace movements, the very important peace movements in Israel. They're boycotting them elsewhere. And I think this is
They
not.
failed.
Thankfully, they failed.
Yeah, but in many other cases, they win, unfortunately.
I think humanity loses. Every time you boycott an artist, humanity loses. And I discovered the hard way that BDSM would not respond to my letter. So I call upon them to respond to me, because I really want to have the answer. Should I also boycott the Palestinian dates? Because
They are not on a position to even debate. I wrote them an open letter after because they gave us the conditions to let go from us. They said that they said Orphand Land should condemn the genocide in Gaza, declare that Israel is an apartheid state, and culturally boycott Israel. If we would have done those three demands,
it's impossible.
Which means if we would have become slaves to what they wish and want, if we would obey to what they dictate, they would leave us alone. And the amazing thing is that they call themselves a pacifist movement. This is completely violent, but shutting your mouth, dictating you what to think, what to say, what to believe. Otherwise, we will not leave you alone. If you do it, we will leave you alone. This is violent, except the blood, but it's completely violent. And no letter will ever convince them. Otherwise, they are unfortunately at the levels of Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, and all those people. I told my Palestinian friends that they are trying to boycott us, and my Palestinian friends told me that they are idiots, because I mean it's an absurd theater, and unfortunately, some people are not convinced by facts or the truth. They are not interested to talk, and this is one of the problems of the world, because we can claim the truth and say the right thing, but their hearts, like you said, the hearts are closed.
Yeah.
The hearts are locked.
Yeah.
So your words are hitting a rock. They are hitting a wall and falling. And it's very hard. Culture indeed opens the hearts, but still not everyone hearts.
Yeah, I have to comment. This is truly interesting, because when you speak, I mean, you are artists, both of you, but you also speak like a politician in a way, in many ways. And I was wondering, because you're so eager to bring peace, and eventually to come to peace, you have to use politics and diplomacy. So when I hear both of you, you are very diplomatic. Have you ever thought about stepping from your comfort zone, because you are an artist, and then trying to promote some message or some process to transition the situation, and just maybe paving the path for negotiation, just out of curiosity, because that's what I do. I'm democracy and federalism. It does a lot about government system, political solutions. And I feel that your path is you opening a door. Maybe you never thought about it, but sometimes it's easier for you to approach an individual or a heart of a person that wouldn't even think about talking about a solution, a truly solution. So I saw Kobe said no, 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 but I'm really curious, just out of
Um,
curiosity.
Well, if I may answer Saliма first. In one of the most amazing conversations I ever had on the macro situation of the Middle East, it was actually with Tom. We sat on a random coffee shop that we found on a gas station in a city called Yavne. And we sat there for 4 hours and talked. And if I could be sorry for something, is that this conversation was not filmed like we are talking right now. Tom knows what I'm talking about. But at that meeting, I asked him, would you go to politics? And because I know my take on that. And he said exactly the answer that I would say. So if I may quote him, or the spirit of what he said that we cannot be politicians because politics, if you jump to the mud, you cannot stay clean. It doesn't matter what your idea. If you take the Bible or the Holy Quran with you and you jump to the mud, the book will be dirty from the mud. And Tom said to me that we should be the ones to give the inspiration, to show the model, and to leave it to the politicians. We need the right politicians to come, and we definitely don't see them in the horizon. But once they will come, they should be inspired from the things that we wrote, from the things that we said, from the things that we showed that are relevant, are true. I mean, I went on a tour with a Palestinian band, and I proved as a model that Israelis and Palestinians lived on a tour bus, not in the same landscape, or a country, or a city, or a building, or a flat, on a bus. We did the laundry together. We ate together. We made coffee to each other in the morning. We respected each other. We lived in the same space. And that was the model showing that Israelis and Palestinians can live together. If someone is looking for that model, it's right over here. I prefer to continue to do that because as an artist, I have the privilege, the unique privilege, I would say, to be universal. I have fans who are settlers, like Settler Shlomo maybe, and I have fans who are from Gaza, and I have fans who are from Lebanon, and those people are tattooing the lyrics that we wrote. They coming to our shows, they are waving flags with us. They went to jail because of our songs. This should be the inspirations for politicians. If I go to be a politician, I lower myself. I lower my spiritual level. I lower my spiritual light to a place where those things are happening. That's the vibe of them. With my hand, I'm doing it. And I'm not sure that I'm the right person to do that. I thought that Tom might be the one who is more fit, who is more suited to do it, because Tom is doing the same thing, but he's writing it on a political manifest. He's writing a book which could be the guidance. The Abrahamic revolution is like a guidance to what I'm doing with my song. It could be a guidance to politicians. They could take this book as a guidance. And so I thought that maybe Tom could do it, but even Tom said that he couldn't do it. So if he can't, I'm definitely not going to do it. I mean, I wonder what Tom or Salima, of course, have to say about this.
Selena, go ahead.
Yeah, that was such a beautiful explanation. I need to think a little bit before answering, because as a female imam, I totally understand what Kobi is saying. Once you become an activist, and I think politicians are like activists, they have to have certain goals that they need to achieve, and people that they need to listen to. And if you become an activist and lose your artist mind, then you lose your everything, because you are an artist. You are not an activist. That's what I believe. In the end, I'm not an activist, I'm an artist. And as an artist, you need to be able to let go of your ego, let go of things that think you know better. You just need to find inspiration. And for me, inspiration, I have experienced that I feel came from God. And politician is we think that politicians have power, but as an imam, I can tell you that God has power. So it's not the politician that has power, it's God that has power. The politician is chosen by certain people to rule over them. But in the end, the one that really rules is I feel, is God. So we can think that the politician has power, and like we thought in the past that the golden calf had power, but in the end, it's not the golden calf, it's God. And I feel in my work, I try to connect with God, and God will lead me. Sometimes I do crazy things, like, for example, write letters to Mahmoud Abbas and asking him that he should let go of the pay for slay stuff because it goes against Islam. It goes against Islam to kill innocent people, to blow up bombs, and to reward criminals that do that. This goes against the basics of Islam. My family originally are from the Idrisi dynasty in Morocco, and they come from the Prophet line. So I think I have some authority if I can speak from authority. I'd rather not speak from authority, but in Morocco. Yes. In Morocco, we have not the imams that are the boss, but the king is the boss, because his direct authority is that he comes from the line of the Prophet. We have in Morocco a political party that is not the Muslim Brotherhood, but they are a little bit like the Muslim Brotherhood. They're claiming to be Islamic, and they were very much against the Abraham Accords. They wanted not to have the Abraham Accords with Israel. And the king, even though at that time they were the highest chosen political party, and the president wanted to not have a normalization with Israel, the king said, no, I want normalization with Israel. That's the best for our country. This is best for Morocco. So he kicked out the Muslim Brotherhood, Islamic, whenever you call it, president, and he said, I put a contract with Israel because we want to have good relations with Israel, and it is also good for Morocco. We can have economical, cultural ties. We can do things with the Western Sahara. We will get more support for that from America also, and etc., etc. It will be beneficial for Morocco if we normalize with Israel, because hate on Israel, we have done that for more than 70 years. It has not solved the problem. So let's have a different approach. And he won in the end. The Islamic kind of political party has lost the votes. The king is still the king. And Morocco now is profiting from good relations. Especially the farmers are having help now with Israeli technique, to have drip technique in very dry land. That is the big challenge for Morocco. They're getting help from Israel. We need to help each other. Moroccans are helping Israelis. Israelis are helping Moroccans. And this is what I think humanity should do. We should help each other and not fight each other. This is the basis of the Abraham Accord. So if we want to stop the wars, we need to start collaborating and helping each other. So in Morocco, not the politician had the power, but the person who was born as a king because his ancestors were descendants of the Prophet. And Moulay Idris, which is my family, and I am very much angry at the Mufti in Jerusalem, because I feel like, what job is he doing? What kind of work is he doing? If the PLO can say, let's kill for slay, and he's supporting the Arafat Foundation, he's giving sermons. I have not seen him say anything critical about the pay for slay. It goes against Islam. Where in the Quran has he been studying? What has he been doing? If I saw him, I would really have a tough talk with him. Even with Sheikh Yassin, who is now dead. But Sheikh Yassin, the leader of Hamas, the inspirational leader of Hamas, he was friends with Rabbi Froman. And Rabbi Froman is a man of the peace, a man of light, a man of Allah. You know, a man of Allah. I see Kobe raising his hands. And Rabbi Froman, I will finish very fast. Rabbi Froman said to the Sheikh Yassin, please stop what you're doing. I'm worried that you will go to hell. I'm worried that you'll go to hell because of all the innocent people that you are killing with the terrorism. And I think this was the best thing any best friend could tell to his friend. Now Sheikh Yassin is in the hands of God. You know, he will have to call upon all the innocent people that he killed. Also the terrorists that he convinced to kill themselves. He will have to, you know, he will have to call because he knows Islam. He knows this is not allowed. So Froman was a very good friend to tell him that. But I sent the letter to the PLO and calling them to stop this nonsense and to trust Allah. Because if you trust Allah, there will be peace. It will be even better than if there was no Israel, because then Palestine would have been another Syria or another Lebanon. There would be conflicts all over the place. They would not live in the utopia. But if we are, you know, with Israel in the Middle East, it will be just like in the past in Al-Andalus, where I come from. My family was kicked out by Spain to Morocco. We are Spanish Andalusians. Originally, my family did DNA test. We are like 80% Spanish. And mashallah, we're family.
Farhi is from Florencia in Andalusia, originally.
Mashallah. My family is from Cordoba. We were one of the last.
Very near.
Mashallah. So that's why we have the same message. We know each other from previous lives.
Yeah, well, the coexistence, you know, of Jews and Muslims in Andalusia or even Morocco, to say, it was maybe the highest model of coexistence of Jews and Muslims. The ones in Morocco, all the Jewish Moroccans say that they were relatives to the king. And there is a Moroccan holiday, Jewish holiday called Mimuna. And originally, I don't know, Tom, even if you or Dora knows it, originally the Mimuna was made for the Muslims. The Jews made it for the Muslims because the Muslims were keeping the floor on Passover. When the Jews cannot bake bread, they used to give all what we called chametz. They used to give it to the Muslims to keep it for them. And since the Muslim kept it for the Jews opened the biggest table for them after Passover and called it Mimuna. They celebrate it now every year in Israel, but originally it was for the Muslims. So that coexistence is Moroccan, basically.
MashaAllah. I actually did the research. I wanted to do a project about the Jews in the Rif because I come from the north of Morocco. And the Rif has an interesting history because I talked to Simon Levy when he still lived. He was the director of the Jewish museum in Casablanca, and he was such an interesting personality. He joined the anti-colonial resistance in Morocco. He was member of parliaments in Morocco. And at that time, he was the director of the Jewish museum. And I was wearing hijab, like this one. At that time, I don't wear hijab. Sometimes I wear hijab now, but at that time, I was always wearing hijab. And I was sitting with him, and he told me, did you know why the Rifians kicked out the Spanish colonizer in that time? It was the Rifian resistance was the first time that natives kicked out a colonial force in the history of mankind, because in that time we thought the Western colonizers were powerful, nobody could beat them. But then the Rifians beat the Spanish colonizer, and it was a miracle. Even Mandela was looking at them for inspiration. Cuban resistance fighters were looking at them for inspiration. How did the Rifians do it? How did they do it? That was real jihad. That was not the so-called jihad of the Palestinians, killing children and the women and children. The jihad that we did was waging against soldiers in a war, an official war, man to man. We didn't have a lot of soldiers. They were just farmers fighting against professional army with weapons and everything. How did we win? Well, Simon Levy told me that he read in the book that was a biography of Al-Krim al-Qattabi, the leader of the resistance of the Rivians. And he said that his secret weapon, he was asked what was his secret weapon. And he said, my secret weapon was the Jews. Because the Jews in the Rif, they made things with metal. They made jewelry. They were craftsmen. That was a traditional job of the Jews in a farmland Rif. But when there was war, the Jews didn't fight, but they made the weapons. They started making the weapons, and with those weapons, they could beat the very big Spanish army. And very few people know this. So the Jews were crucial in our fight against the Spanish and our liberation against the Spanish. So this shows that if we become friends with Jews, if we collaborate with them, we will win. You know, maybe if the Palestinians collaborated with the Jewish weapon fighters, they would have won. They would have won like we did, and not have fight for 70 years, almost 100 years, and still not, you know, they should think, why are we losing? Something is going wrong. Why are we're losing because we're killing innocent children and women. That's not the way that jihad was fought. You know, jihad, if you look at the real jihad in Morocco, it was fought against soldiers in a fight, not by ambushing them and doing things like that. It was man-to-man fight. And then you trust God, and God makes you win. You don't blow up children in a bus. That is not jihad. So I would love to sit with the Mufti and ask him, like, what kind of Islam is he talking about? Because this is not Islam. This is not the Islam that I believe in, the Islam that billions of people believe in. And he should think about him and God, not just think about winning this political game, but winning the afterlife. Because he will come to God and he will tell him, why are you giving money to people that blow up children and women? Why are you giving them they come out millionaires, I hear. They come out of the prison millionaires. And so as an imam, I think my job might be in the realm of politics. To answer it's a long answer, but might be in the realm of politics, but I will always be an avant-garde imam. You know, I will not use their tactics or their methods, but you know, I have only God that I have accountability towards. You know, I don't have a politician has to have accountability towards his voters. You know, I don't have any accountability towards voters. I have direct accountability towards God. And that's why I write the letters that I write. But I might end up in politics. But the people that vote on me will not have any influence on me, because I will be there as an artist imam as well. I will not. So I don't know if they will put me there or not, but so that is my answer. I never say never. Everything is possible. In the eyes of Allah, everything is possible. Like this is for me a miracle. I would never have ever imagined that I will be sitting here with Kobie and of Orphand Land. Just a year or so ago, I was dancing on his music, thinking about Shlomo. It was for me the way to enter into the world of Shlomo. He was a tough guy. He was an IDF man. He was powerful, but at the same time, very, how do you say? He was peaceful in his communication, and he was always loving towards me. Although I went to him with a lot of aggression, he was grounded, and that woke me up from my judgment and ego and thing. And I learned that if I judge the Israelis, and if I hate if I start hating or judging, in the end I will judge myself, because we are one.
Yeah.
We are one. That's what I found out. If I judge Israelis, I will judge settler Shlomo. I will hate myself, and I will be not a complete human being. If I hate the Palestinians, I will judge Hamas Salim, and I will hate, the only way for me that I discovered through my journey is the way out for me is to be the solution myself, to try to wage peace one conversation at a time. And I feel that God is guiding me and creating miracles. Like this is this meeting with Orphand Land leader, band leader. I still cannot believe that I'm talking to him now. So for me, this is a miracle to be talking like this. It's the power of God, and we believe in this.
Look, you really you're too kind to me. It's just me, believe me. And it's very flattering. Thank you so much for seeing me that way. But being the one living with myself, trust me, the feeling is mutual. I mean, every one of us is special and unique at its own way. I hear you speak. I've never seen anyone so original and unique like yourself. I mean, what you're doing is completely revolutionary, and I at least want to say that the feeling is mutual. You also mentioned Rabbi Fruman, which I truly admire. I asked Tom at one point if he thinks that he might be a spiritual father to all the Abrahamic movement, because he was a settler sitting with Sheikh Yassin. They allowed Rabbi Fruman to speak on a funeral after a Jewish terror attack. He was really one of a kind. If the settlers were burning a mosque, he used to come to the mosque with Quran books and apologize. I mean, what a guy, what a rabbi, what a true imam or rabbi. I mean, and you have that as well. You have that source and light within you. So of course you will be sitting here with me. The privilege is mine. I mean, I'm just a singer of a metal band.
No, you're much more.
Yeah.
But
So before we start wrapping it up, I would like to do something a bit different today, and to give Kobi the opportunity to ask Saliма a question, and afterwards to give Salima an opportunity to ask Kobi a question, and I think it will be a nice way to wrap it up. So Kobi, you go first.
Well, Salima was telling so many things she said needed to be digested. What I would really like to ask is a simple question. Have you ever been to Israel, and have you ever been here recently? I think that the people here need someone like you, maybe from both sides, to hear a voice, not to mention a voice of a woman, which is women power. And we men, we grow up with toy guns. We always like to play with guns when we are kids. But women, they go on different paths, and we should in general listen more to women. So my question is, when do you think that you are going to come over and to share with us some of your wisdom and lights and hopes and courage and all the things that you believe in? We will be happy to have you here with us. So that's my question.
Shukran. Shukran, Kobi. What an wonderful description and question. I have not been to Israel yet. I have not been, actually, I haven't been to the Middle East yet. I didn't even visit Mecca or Medina. And I have been to Japan to visit a martial art master, because that was for me at that time important. But I haven't been to Israel, and I haven't been to Palestine. But I wish to go. I have very good friends in Israel. And I wish to see them. Actually, I wanted to go to Israel during the war, believe it or not. I was planning to go. I don't have even the funding. I just wanted to go without any money, because there is a sacred site of Baba Sali. I don't know if you know him. Baba
Sure.
Sali.
Everyone knows him, of course.
Baba Sali, he was the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe of the Kabbalists. And Baba Sali,
Moroccan Jews.
Yes, not only the Jews, also the Muslims.
Yes, of course, Baba Sali, of course.
Baba Sali is a mystical leader, and I felt I needed to go to his tomb to visit him because I'm looking for God in romantic love. And I've been writing stories to the Rebbe to help me, but if you want to find the marriage love, you need to go to Baba Sali. And he was also the spiritual guide of settler Shlomo. So Baba Sali is necessary for me to visit, and I have been thinking of visiting him during his Hilulah, during his remembrance, and I
Yeah.
hope, inshallah, soon. I hope that I will visit him soon, and yeah, I hope that God will give me inspiration to go that my heart will tell me now you need to go, and I haven't felt it yet, but I'm listening to my heart always in everything that I do, and I feel I need to visit Baba Sali because after 4 years of looking, I think it's time to visit Baba Sali because I need some help with finding Allah in a romantic love because 4 years is a long time. And what was the question? Sorry, I can talk too much.
The question was about you coming to Israel,
Oh yeah,
and that in these times of darkness, we need every light that exists, and your light is one of a kind, special, unique. So I think that harmony is needed mostly in places of disharmony,
okay.
if you understand what I'm saying. So
I
I just wanted to
understand.
say,
Understand.
that you are most welcome here
Shukran.
to share and spread your light at the right time. I'm sure that you will do it, and you are always most welcome.
Do you need background singers that could do Allahu Akbar? I could offer my talents. I don't know if I'm good enough, but I how do you say? I'm open
We-
for everything.
Amazing. And
I'm
I
sure
would
we will
like
meet each other and find great things to do together. I have no doubt.
Inshallah.
I would like to double on Kobe's invitation on my behalf as well, and I'm sure that on Dora's behalf as well. And now, Salima, before we end, I would like to give you the opportunity to ask Kobe a question, or maybe if you have more than one, that's also okay.
Okay. During the time that I was feeling settler Shlomo, I was watching your videos very often. The music, the imagery, it connected with my heart. I felt this is a musician that actually really thinks that there's unity between Muslims, between Christians, between Jews, and there was this Abraham presence in your. I felt like Abrahamic connection that it was in all the songs. You know, I felt it was not the Islam of to put on a hijab, you need to put on strict everything, but it was very open to the real Islam. I feel it was like the real Islam. You show it in, I think, in each one of your videos. I also, the Rebbe was there in one of the videos. I saw the Rebbe, and I feel like your music is not just creatively guided, but I feel like it is mystical. I feel like something more is happening in the music. Is this true? Is it like mystical music?
Yeah, it is. Music is just the platform that I chose to express my, let's say, points of view and mystical observations that I have. And I thought that metal music is the one that can break the wall the most. That's what I thought when I was a teenager. I felt that metal music does not trying to be radio friendly or trying to make it nice for this. It just gives you the truth to your face. And I thought that this is a platform, but it's definitely a lot of, that's what I said. That's one of the reasons that I said before, that the story is much stronger than the music. Because I think that the music is just the platform. The idea of the band and what we are doing, me wearing sometimes the shape of Jesus on stage. I had an obsession to Islam ever since I remember myself. I recorded myself singing Allahu Akbar in a mosque in India, and I was arrested for it. You know, I was always attracted to it from a place that I knew that there was magic over there too, and I knew that peace exists over there too. And peace is a common word in both religions. Rabbi Fruman says that one of God's names is peace, shalom. It's one of his names. So there is a lot of mysticism and spiritualism in the band. I had never learned how to sing. I have never went to learn with a teacher how to sing. It's all from a spiritual connection that I have within me. I know to sing in quarter tones and Arab scales, and I am Israeli. So, I mean, it's all coming from the inside, the way that you believe, connecting with God. Every time before I'm going to stage, I'm asking God to be with me. Even if I am, let's say, on the toilet before the show, taking a piss, even if I'm there, I could speak to God, because I'm sure that He will hear the ones who follow Him anywhere. And if this is the only place I could find a moment to be alone and speak to Him, I will even do it over there. And I'm doing it before the shows. Orphand Land is a spiritual idea that transforms itself through music and now through literature, answering again Dora's question.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah.
Dora, you want to add something?
Yeah, I want to add something. Like I didn't know, when I came to today, I didn't know what to expect, because this is something new to me, to speak to artists. I usually speak about politics and government system. And I want to tell you that I truly believe that your voices are leading extraordinary paths for us, for people like me that actually deal in political solution. And I know that you said like, no politics, but eventually people have to sit on the table and to create those. But your voice can transition the understanding and actually plant hope and also trust. And what we are lacking right now in many sides of many conflict is actually trust that there is somebody in the other side that actually can talk to me and can listen to me. And this is something that you are bringing, and this is a blessing from God. I truly believe that. So this is your gift to the world. So I want to thank you so much, and I want to thank Tom that actually invited me to be here with you today, because I'm truly grateful. So thank you, and please, Tom.
Thank all of you. I think that what we've done today is maybe creating a bit more trust and a lot of more wisdom, I would even dare saying. I think that those moments should be recorded and are presenting something new for most of the people. And really, our ability to change the perception is only by bringing in something new. We can't create a change if we won't bring in new ideas. And I think that those ideas are truly important, and I would like to thank all of you for participating in this very special discussion tonight. I'm sure that it's not going to be the last one. I think that we have a lot more to speak about in this forum, and maybe with more people of interest that has to contribute to this discussion about arts and faith as a bridge to peace building. And I hope to see you again soon. And Saleema, you were invited formally by all of us. So we will have to discuss the details, but we hope to see you soon over here.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Thank you.
I mean, thank you, my friends. Good night.